Hi, I'm Helen and welcome to my channel. Today's class will be an all-over body flow. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and we'll start today's class just sitting down in a comfortable seat. I'm sitting on a blanket to elevate my hips higher than my knees, so I recommend you do the same. That way the spine keeps nice and straight. Shoulders are relaxing down and stacked over the hips. Palms come face down on the knees. And just close the eyes and center in on the breathing. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And just continue with a rhythm that suits your body. Just turning inwards, letting go of anything that's on your mind. You've had a hectic day, now's the time to just put it all behind you and enjoy the sanctuary of your mat, investing time in yourself to feel good. So just observe if you're holding tension anywhere. We get so tight throughout the day, sitting at a desk, tapping away at a computer, or scrolling on our devices, driving a car all day, doing chores. We hold so much tightness in our shoulders and our neck and the jaw and the hips. Just notice where you're holding it and mentally send the breath there to try and release, let go. Let your body know you're in a safe space and it doesn't need to put up these defenses anymore. You can relax and enjoy these moments on the mat. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, slowly open the eyes. So we'll start standing up. If you're sitting on a blanket like I am, just push it over to one side. And come to the mat. Big toe mounds come together, heels slightly apart. And on an inhale, palms lift up to the sky. Really ground down into the feet. Lengthen out of the waist, shoulders are relaxed. And then exhale, come down. Inhale, lift palms to the sky. Exhale, release. Always feels so good to do a full body stretch. Inhale, palms to the sky. Exhale, release. Then inhale, bring the arms up to cactus, and we'll do a mini back bend, lifting the chest up, maybe opening the throat, grounding down into the feet. As you exhale, round the upper back forward as if you're diving into a blue lagoon, the hands coming in front. Inhale, open the chest to the sky. Exhale, round forward into this dive. Inhale, one more, chest to the sky. And exhale, forward. Come back up to neutral. So if you're not already at the top of the mat, come to the top of the mat. Inhale, the palms to the sky. And exhale, forward fold, forward in from the waist. Hands come down. You can bend the knees here as it's our first forward fold, and just maybe come into ragdoll, grabbing the elbows and allowing the upper body to swing gently from side to side, releasing the neck, releasing any tension. If it feels comfortable, you can straighten the legs. I'm just always very mindful of my hamstrings after a brutal hamstring injury. And then release the hands to the floor. Straighten the right leg, bend the left knee. Left hand plants underneath the left shoulder. And release this right arm up to the sky for a twist. So pulling this right hip back, feeling the twist coming from the mid-spine. And exhale, come down. We'll go over to the other side. So right hand plants under right shoulder. Left arm comes up to the sky. Breathing here. Pulling this left hip back. Equal weight in both feet. And exhale, hand comes down. Plant both the hands on the floor and just step back to your first downward facing dog. So feet around hip width, hands around shoulder width. Sit bones to the sky, grounding into the base of the knuckles. Upper back is wide with the triceps rotated under. Ears are between the biceps. Back is long. Heels descend, so you can have bent knees here. Whatever feels good for your body. Remember, we're all different. We've all got different stories in our bodies. Just breathe here. Focus in on the breath. And also think about your base, grounding into the hands and grounding into the feet. The key to all these yoga poses is a nice stable base. Then from here on an inhale, we'll roll forward to plank. Hold here for 5 breaths. So shoulders are over the hands. Upper back is slightly protracted. The core is engaged. The legs are straight and strong and active. Breath is steady. Mind is steady. Hold here. So it is only 5 breaths. And then hips go back for downward facing dog. Bring the knees down. We'll come in, just open up the feet. So we'll come into screaming toe pose. So make sure all of your toes are touching the floor. So I can't really bend my right big toe because I've got some pins in it, so I find this quite difficult. Sit onto the heels, stack the shoulders over the hips, and breathe here. So if this is absolute agony, I feel you. You can just release up and then come down and see how long you can stay here. So you can keep taking breaks. This is a very intense stretch. It's not one of my favorite poses, but it is really good for our feet. So just focus on your breathing. Long, deep breaths. Then inhale, come back up to kneeling. Just bring the hands down and tap out the front of the feet just to release them. Feet should feel nice and awake now. Hands come one handprint in front, tuck the toes, and we'll come back to downward facing dog. So on an inhale, right leg lifts to the sky. Really lengthen this leg. And then stack the hips, bend the knee, and it'll come into this, I think it's sometimes called scorpion. So your leg is like a scorpion tail, knee going up to the sky. Keep equal weight in both hands with the shoulders facing down towards the mat. Really opening the hip here. And then release down. We'll do the other side. So inhale, left leg to the sky, reaching out of this leg, then stack the hips, allow this knee to bend, keeping the shoulders facing down towards the mat and equal weight in both hands, opening the hips, and then come back down. Inhale, right leg lifts again. Exhale, right foot steps up into a low lunge. If you can't get there in one go, remember, you can always do a bit of manual handling. Hands underneath the shoulders, lengthen out of the waist, and just feel the stretch in this left hip flexor. So breathing here. And plant the left hand, we'll come into an easy twist. The hips are facing towards the floor as best you can. Hand up to the sky. And exhale, bring this hand down, bring the back knee down. We'll come back into half split. So reaching out of the waist, you can sit the glute all the way back to the heel, or you can stay elevated, whatever feels good for you. Keeping the back straight, folding over this extended leg. Keep the foot flexed. Using the breath. Then come back up to this low lunge. Lift the back knee, plant the hand, step back, downward facing dog. Second side, inhale left leg to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps up, low lunge. Reaching out of the waist. Plant this right hand, inhale left arm to the sky for an easy twist. And exhale, come back down. Back knee comes down, half split, second side. So often there's an imbalance. For me, this left hamstring is a lot tighter than the right. Don't know why. You can sit back on the heel if that feels good. Always being mindful, never going too deep that you feel pain. Understanding the difference between pain and going to your edge. And inhale, come back up. Plant the hands, lift the back knee, step back, downward facing dog. We inhale forward again to plank and another 5 breaths here. So protecting the shoulder blades, engaging the front body, legs are nice and active, heels are shooting into the back wall. Long steady breaths. Remember, it is only 5 breaths. If it is too much, you can always bring your knees down, but try and push through it. Tell yourself you're strong. And then exhale, hips come back up to the sky. And take a free breath here. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, right foot steps forward, ground down into the front heel. Engage the core, come up high lunge. So right hip comes back, engage the core and the front body. Back leg straight and strong. Inhale, arms to the sky. Circle the left wrist and we'll lean over to the right for double crescent. So stretching out the left hip flexor. Deep breaths. And then come back to the center. Plant the back heel, heel to arch alignment, warrior 2. So hips are, make sure they're parallel to the floor, bending into this front knee, arms out to a T, shoulders relaxed, gazing point, middle finger of the front hand. Deep breaths here. Then inhale, flip the front palm, come into reverse warrior. Reaching out the waist. Cartwheel the hands down. On exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot steps up. Stable base, grounding into that left front heel. Engage the core. High lunge. Couple of breaths here. Lengthen out that back leg, open in the right hip flexor. Front ribs are in, shoulders are relaxed, fixed gazing point. Left hip coming back, right hip coming forward. And then circle the right wrist with the left hand and lean over to the left for double crescent. Inhale back to center. Plant the back heel and we open out into warrior 2. So heel to arch alignment. Front knee over front ankle. Arms to a T. Breathe here. Engage in that core. Keeping the inseam of the back leg active, back arch active. If you lift your toes, it brings a little bit more engagement into the core. Then inhale, flip the front palm, come back into reverse warrior. Come back up, cartwheel down, downward facing dog, rock forward to plank. You can take a vinyasa if it feels good, otherwise just stay in dog. And we'll all meet there. Inhale, right leg lifts to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps up. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, open out into warrior two. And flip the front palm, reverse warrior. And then straighten the front leg for reverse triangle. So really reaching out the waist here. You feel a stretch all down the right side body. Then bring the body up to vertical and we'll come into triangle. So you may shuffle the foot in a little bit. Reach out the waist, hand comes down to wherever feels good for you. And release the top arm to the sky. So ground down into the right big toe mound. External rotation of that right hip. Stacking the shoulders, reaching out both sides of the waist. Keeping that back leg straight and strong. Remembering to breathe, not dumping all the weight into this right hand, using the core. Inhale, come back up. Bend into the front knee. Right elbow to right knee, and then sweep the top arm down, up and around, four side angle pose. So again, reaching out of the waist. If it's within your practice, you can bring the hand down to a block or the floor, or you can keep it on the thigh. Imagine that long line of energy from the back foot to the top hand, rotating this chest towards the sky. Inhale, warrior two, plant the hand, step back, downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. And breathe. Inhale, left leg lifts to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps up. Come up, high lunge. One breath here. And we open up into warrior two, heel to arch alignment. Gazing at this middle finger of the front hand. Flip the palm, reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. So really reaching out of the waist. Don't dump all the weight into the right hand. Remember to use the core. And then inhale, come up to vertical. Maybe shorten the stance slightly. Reach out the waist. Triangle on this side. So hand comes down to a block, the floor, the shin, the foot, anywhere. Stacking the shoulders. Lengthen out both sides of the waist, grounding into the big toe mound. Back arch is active. Breathe here. So really lengthen the spine. Get it as long as you can. Keep that waist active. Breathe. And use the strength of this top arm to pull you up. Back to warrior two. Elbow comes to the thigh. Sweep the top arm down, up and around. Side angle, modified version or full version if it's in your practice. Reaching out of the waist, opening the chest to the sky. Breathing. Front thigh as parallel to the floor as you can get it. Long line of energy from the foot to the tips of the fingers. Then come back up, warrior two. Cartwheel the hands down. Take a vinyasa or go back to dog. And we'll all meet there. Take a free breath. Inhale, right leg lifts to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps up. Ground into the front heel. Come up, high lunge. And then plant the back foot. So you're standing on train tracks. Right hip comes back, left hip comes forward. And we'll move into pyramid pose. So lengthen out of the waist. Ground into all four corners of the feet. And then come forward, maybe just to halfway. So you can start to feel this in this hamstring here. This is quite a deep stretch. If it's available to you, your hands can come down or come to blocks. Lengthen and then descend. So always be mindful here. Never go in deeper than you need to. And then inhale, lift back out of the waist. Come back up to standing. So we'll move into revolve triangle, and this is quite an advanced pose. So you might need a block here. I'll give several variations. Right hip comes back, left hip comes forward. Inhale the left arm up to the sky, so you're really reaching out of this waist. Pull this right hip back, and as you exhale, come forward and bring the hand down. So it may come underneath your left shoulder, it may come to the foot, or it may come outside the foot. Make the spine long and release the top arm to the sky. So really pulling back this right hip, stacking the shoulders, doing your version of the pose. Steady gaze, steady mind, steady breath. Then exhale, come back down. Bring the spine back to neutral. Hands to the hips. We'll come back up. Step back into a low lunge and plant the hands. Plank, take a vinyasa or go to dog. Whatever's good for you. We'll meet there. Side B, inhale, left leg to the sky, left foot steps up. Knee over ankle, get that stable base. Come up to high lunge. And then plant this back foot. You're on train tracks. Pull this left hip back, right hip forward. Firstly, we'll come into pyramid. So lengthen out of the waist, really ground into those feet and tip forward as you exhale. Reaching, reaching. Stay here. If you have blocks, you can bring them to your hands to them or to the floor. Pull that left hip back. Keep the hips neutral and then descend. Really deep breathing. Being mindful of your body and what it's telling you. Then inhale, come back up to halfway with the hands to the hips, back up, standing. So revolve triangle on this side. Get your stable base, lengthen out of the waist. I'm a bit wobbly today. Pull this left hip back. Inhale the right arm to the sky. So you really want to get a lot of length here in this right waist. As you exhale, you're going to reach, reach, reach forward as far as you can. Hand comes down underneath the shoulder. You can bring it to a block as well. It may come to the foot, or it may come outside. Whatever version you're in, pull this left hip back, and then release the left hand up to the sky. Lengthen out the spine, lengthen out the waist. Pulling this left hip back, stacking the shoulders, breathing. Get a fixed gazing point. This is a balancing pose. And exhale, hand comes down, hand comes to the hips, come back up to standing. Take a breath, bend the front knee, plant the hands, step back into a low lunge, then back to plank or straight to dog. Take a vinyasa, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Knees to the mat for a little brief child's pose. Let's just roll out the wrists, reconnect with the breath. Revolve triangle is actually quite an advanced pose. It's a forward fold, it's a twist, and it's a balance. So don't beat yourself up if you found it difficult. Just honour your body, honour where you are, and be content. And then inhale, come up to the knees, and we'll work on camel pose for our back bend. So knees are directly underneath the hips, and they're hip distance apart. Lift out of the waist, tuck the tailbone slightly, and take the hands and bring them on the back of the waist. So your fingers can be pointing up, and you want to lift out of the chest. So you really want to imagine, you can also imagine you've got like your thumbs underneath your armpits and you're lifting up. So you really want to get this length in the front body here. So just breathe here for a moment. See how that feels. And then sit down. Don't lean forward. Reconnect with the breath. And inhale, come back up. Now with camel pose, you can have your feet flat to the floor, or you can have the heels, the toes tucked, so it brings the floor closer to you if you reach back and grab your heel. So do whatever it is within the limits of your body. And we'll do half camel first. So on an inhale, the right arm lifts to the sky. Sweep it back. See if you can touch the heel. So this might be your position. Maybe you can lift this left arm up and lean back. Breathe. And then come up. Second side. So left hand comes back, maybe to the heel. This might be your position. Inhale the right arm to the sky, maybe you can lean back. Lengthening the front of the body, pushing the hips forward, and come back up. Sit back on the heels, don't lean forward, just reconnect with the breath. So it's a big heart, chest, throat opener. You can do the first version we did, or you can do full camel. So it's both hands to the heels. Remember, if you have the toes tucked, it makes it a little bit more accessible. If you're okay with your feet flat, feel free to do that. Inhale, come back up. So an inhale, the right arm comes up, sweeps round. Left hand comes back to the left heel, push the hips forward and come into camel. Even breathing. When you come up through the midline, and the head is the last to come up. Sit to the heels. A couple of breaths here, and we'll do one more because we'll go back on the other side to even it out. Come back up. Inhale, left arm up, reaches round for that left heel. Inhale, the right arm up, maybe the right hand as well. Camel pose, Ustrasana. Hips coming forward, lengthening out the front body. One more breath. And then to release, we come up the midline, head comes up last. Seat comes to the heels. Stay here for a moment, just to allow the spine to realign of its own accord. So the discs that have just been compressed as you've gone into that extension, allow them to return to their normal shape naturally. It's much healthier for the spine to do this than to go straight into a counter pose. And then now the back settled, just straight forward into a child. You can have the knees wide or the knees together. Bring the forehead to the floor, maybe stack the fists and just bring the forehead to the fists. Reconnecting with the breath. So back bends, really energizing. They bring so much energy to the body, really stimulating. Make your chest area and your heart feel so light and airy. They're real mood elevators as well. So if you're ever feeling a bit blue, maybe do a little back bend. Doesn't have to be camel, you can just do a cobra or a sphinx. It really helps elevate your mind. Then inhale, come back up. Come onto the seat and we'll move through some seated poses. So pull the flesh of the buttocks back. Inhale, the left knee comes in and allow it to fall out to the side for Janushirasana. So the left foot is inside the right thigh. Your knee may be elevated or it may be flat to the floor depending on the hips. Inhale, lengthen out of the waist, and exhale, fold forward and descend. Hands can come anywhere that feels good. Maybe you can grab the foot and surrender down. Using the breath to release, not having any expectations. Inhale, lift, come back up. We'll come into Gomukhasana, so you can do a half or a full. So bring this left foot across the right leg, stacking the knees. This might be your position. This can be quite intense. If it's within your practice and it feels good for you, you can fold this other leg back. I'm going to keep mine straight today. It's always a lottery with me and my hips and whether or not I can do Gomukhasana. Whatever version you're in, lengthen out and then descend over gently and surrender here. So if I've been doing a lot of glute stuff and squats, etc., I find the next day this pose is not very accessible to me. And inhale, come back up. Release your Gomukhasana version, whatever one you're in. Shake out the legs. Bring this right knee in. Allow it to flop open for Janushirasana on this side. Keep this left leg active, the foot flex, lengthen out of the waist, and then descend forward from the waist. Maybe grabbing the foot, maybe not. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, release. Long, deep breaths. You can close the eyes, turn inward. Bring your awareness to the back of the left thigh. Send the breath there. You may find as you breathe, you just get a little bit more deeper into the pose as the body starts to let go. And inhale, come up. Come into Gomukhasana, cow face pose, full or half version, whatever feels good for you. So this right knee comes over the right leg. You can push the knees together to stack them, lengthen out of that waist. And exhale, come forward. If you're in a half like me, this is quite intense on this left hamstring. So just be mindful, honor your body, respect your body. Don't force it. We spend so many years tightening it up with our repetitive movements that it takes a while to unravel it. Just deep breaths. Inhale, come back up. Just release these legs, shake them about. And we'll come onto the back. So engage in the core and using that feet flat to the floor, release the body down. Bring the knees in one at a time. Give yourself a little squeeze. Then release the left leg long. Pull this right knee over for a reclined twist. Shoulders are equal on the floor. Maybe the head turns to the right. Breathe here. Inhale, come back. Swap the legs. Bring this left knee in close to the chest. And then release over towards the right, keeping both shoulders on the floor. Back to the midline. Do any movement that you feel you need to do before you move into final relaxation. So maybe rocking and rolling a bit on the sacrum, always feels good. Do the knees in one direction and then in the other. And then when you're ready, release the legs one by one out to the floor, palms facing up towards the sky. Allow those fingers to curl gently towards the body. Shoulders are tucked down the back. Chin is tucked. Surrender here, let go. We'll be here for a minute or so. And I'm going to read you a passage about time. So this passage is called In Time by Vicky Smith. Remember always a piece of time for peace in this hectic world. And from our own busyness, make time to be still and alone. Stop the mindless murmurings of the mind for a piece of time and peace of mind. Leave in a space from this crazy pace to find our own peaceful serenity. For only then is there time to forge the changes, inwards and outwards, that we need to transform this place in time. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe reach the hands overhead, interlacing the fingers with the toes in the opposite direction. Take a full body stretch. And when you're ready in your own time, bring the knees in one by one to the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And gently roll over onto one side, coming into the fetal position. Keeping the eyes closed, slowly push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Stacking the shoulders over the hips. Keeping the jaw relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Maybe bringing the palms face down on the knees. This represents grounding. Take a deep inhale, deep exhale. Then bring the palms to the chest. Bring them up to the third eye of your intuition, to the lips for impeccable words, and back to the heart. Thank yourself for making time to bring a little bit of peace into your world and giving yourself these moments on your mat. It's so important that we set aside time every day just for ourselves to reconnect, calm the mind, focus on the breathing, and just enjoy being in our own bodies and space. Thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Hope you enjoy this class, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone that you think may benefit. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate every single one of you that practices with me, and I hope to practice again with you soon. Thank you.